What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. We got about 9 hours left in the day. This, the 26th of May, sitting here to $109.7 thousand with a high of $110.2 thousand. We're chilling. We're relaxing. We're hanging out here, and we're probably not going to do a whole lot by the end of the day. I would expect that. Maybe we can go a little bit higher, but I wouldn't expect anything crazy to happen by the end of the day. Let's see. I made a prediction that by the end of Monday, we would not be 4% to the upside or more, and we would not be 4% to the downside or more. So something below 111.6K is where we would be by the end of today. That's the expectation. Let's see what the 1 hour time frame says. Let's see what the short term time frames say. If we're going to be moving up, moving down, whatever, let's just check it out. Okay, so hold on real quick. All right, let's see here. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, and if you look at this, the volume on the BTC USD all-time history index, it's not accurately represented, man. If you go to Coinbase or Binance and you use USDT or whatever, the volume reading is not the same. It's more now. It definitely is more now than it was over the weekend, but that shouldn't be a huge surprise, right? Anyways, volume probably has little to do with this, is all I'm trying to say. Anyways, here you were at a point where you find resistance, right? Where you found resistance before, but now you're bleeding into it. You're like slowly bleeding into it. So I do think that this is a signal that you want to break out to the upside. It's very possible that before you break out to the upside, you come back, you find support somewhere, and then you kind of spring off of that. That might be a good way to put it, right? You compact your spring, and then boom, the spring releases. You know what I mean? So by the end of the day, we could move a little bit lower and then move higher as well. So let's just see what the 1 hour RSI is saying. Well, here you have lower lows in the RSI while maintaining higher lows in the price. That's a good thing. It's hidden bullish divergence. You're also at this area in the 60 where it seems as though you like to find some significance here, right? Support there, resistance there. You found a little resistance in this area, support in this area here, support right there, little resistance there, support right in this area. It's all pretty in line with this zone right here, the 60. So this could be an area that you bounce from. If you do bounce from here on the 1 hour, that would nullify the idea of going lower. So, 56 minutes left in this hour. If by the time you guys watch this video, if Bitcoin's at like $109,000, don't be worried. That's probably it. It probably won't. I doubt Bitcoin goes below $109,000, you guys. It'll go Bitcoin. This might seem like a bold call, but I feel pretty safe in this call. Bitcoin is likely to go to 120K before it will go below 109K. We're at 109.6K. It's a bold call, but not really. I've got the inside scoop. I know where the price is going to go. My crystal ball is telling me no. I don't. I'm assuming, and anything can happen. If Bitcoin does go below 109K, if we do see lower prices, it's possible. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'd be pretty surprised right now if we were to go lower. And this area, I'm not saying 109K because it's a psychological area, but just this is where you found resistance before. That's right above 109K. I doubt you go below there. Therefore, I doubt you go below 109K. Okay, looks like you're more likely to break out to the upside. RSI agrees. Price action seems to agree. If you were to find resistance here at your prior area of support, I think you would have a little bit lower, right there. I think you would have rejected already. You wouldn't crowd this area like this for hours and hours if you were going to reject it, right? Most likely. 15-minute time frame maybe. Let's look at this real quick. Coming down, yeah. Sometimes with these kind of RSI channels all the way down, they don't end until you get into the oversold zone. They don't end until you're lower. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they end beforehand. Let's see if we can find an example of that on the 15-minute time frame here. It's not common, right? Kind of a downtrend here, and it ended before it got to the oversold zone, but inevitably it made its way down there. I don't know. I would just wait. On the 15-minute time frame, at this current trajectory, at this current pace, we might expect to be there by the end of the day. Maybe sometime at the end. Man, that's crazy. The 15-minute is disagreeing with the 1 hour. The 15-minute looks like it wants to go down. The 1 hour looks like it wants to bounce. But if you don't bounce here, if you do get a red hour, then you won't bounce here. Okay. So maybe we do return. I know I'm all over the place, guys, but just hear me out here. We're either going to go down to about $109,000, just above there, probably just above 109K at like 109.2, or we're going to move up from here. I'm starting to think, based on the 15-minute and based on the 1 hour, we have 54 minutes left in this hour. If this hour closes red, then we're going down. But if it closes green, we're moving up. So this hour, I think, is somewhat important. This, the 15th hour of the 26th of May. If it closes red, down. If it closes green, up for the rest of the day. That'd be my expectation. Why? Why for the rest of the day? Well, if we look at this on a 15-minute time frame, right? Connect these lows down. When do you get into the oversold zone, right? Because generally, typically, these don't end until you get to the oversold zone, at least to it, if not into it. And if you look here, the 27th is right here. It's literally right here. That's the 27th. So by the end of the day, we might be down here setting up for a bullish Tuesday. That might be, and that would make a lot of sense too, because that fits well into the idea that I've portrayed for this weekend, which is that this weekend would be boring and that we wouldn't do much. We wouldn't move 4% one way or the other, and we're coming back down, right? Sunday was a green day. Saturday or Monday might be a red day, just a slight red day or a neutral day, whatever. But Tuesday, I think, is going to grow. Anyways, let's look at the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour. The 1 hour still does look bullish from here, but if it closes red, it'd look less bullish. Maybe you go down to the 50 and bounce, right? And that would coincide with the idea of going lower for the rest of the day. Hell, you could even go to the 40. Who knows? But 4-hour time frame here. Rejecting the 60. Okay, now this makes it look, there's definitely more bearish things about this chart for the short term than there is bullish things for the short term. I do like where you've bounced. Each time that you've bounced here in this area, you have gone to the overbought zone, You're probably on your path higher, but even here, right, you moved up and then you still moved down. You moved up, you moved down, and then eventually got in there, you know what I mean? So you can move down a little bit. The 4 hours making me intimidated about my 109K call. And if we go, again, guys, if we go below 109K before we break above 120K, Bitcoin's not broken. That was just a bold call. Maybe it comes to light, maybe it doesn't, but I'm pretty confident on it, right? Golden ratio down to your 0.5, you bounce there. That's very common. It's also somewhat common to bounce off your 382, and that puts you at 108.6 thousand. Enough to prove me wrong, and then we move up. So one way or another, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, we're going to move up. It's not a big deal. I should have saved that bold call for 108.6K because I'm very confident we don't go below there. The 4 hour makes me a little bit shaky. It could, because you could go lower. You could go a lot lower and still be fine, you know, and still recover. So, and if you were to go a lot lower, that would probably reflect in like the 382 or something like that. So 108.6 to 109.2K, somewhere in that area. I'm leaning toward 109.2K, just based off of pride alone. When it comes time to moving higher, we will move higher very soon, probably tomorrow, going through the rest of this week here. We're going to go to about 113K, 115K, and then inevitably all the way up to 121K, something like right around here. Yeah, that's the expectation. At this 2618 here, if we're looking at the daily time frame, that also lines up very well. Actually, sorry, the 3-day time frame. It also lines up very well with this 1272 from the high here, the overall high, to the low here. Your 1272 is right there at 121K. Typically, with these larger fibs, you do stop in these areas, right? In the primary target zone, the 1618 to the 1272. Typically, with the smaller fibs, which this is definitely a smaller fib right here, right? Much smaller in comparison to the fib that we just drew. Typically with these, you do see deeper extensions, right? And it makes sense. All I'm saying is if it's a large fib, you're going to have a harder time moving through it. If it's a smaller fib, you'll have an easier time moving through it. And that's pretty simple, actually, because the larger it gets, the further away all these lines grow. So the harder it is to grow. But the smaller it is, the easier it is to grow. All I'm trying to say here is it makes sense that we would see a deep extension based off of this fib. It makes sense that we would see a shallow retracement or a shallow extension based off of this fib. We're probably going to go to 121K by the end of this month, if not higher. The expectation is still to be above 130K by the end of the month, but we'll see if that happens. 109.6K now. 6 days, 9 hours left in the week. 5 days, 9 hours left in the month. We'll see how it goes, but I'm expecting a bullish finish going into the month of June, and we'll probably shake things up and continue to run up in the month of June. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. I certainly don't believe that we're going below. I don't believe that we're going to go below this low. I really don't believe that we're going to go below 109K, but if we do, it'd be just barely, right? This low in the RSI coincided with a low back here of which we grew from. I think it's going to be the same thing here. This is a low that coincides with a point of which we grew from. So we're going to grow here. We're just taking a chill pill for now for the next 8 or 9 hours probably, and then tomorrow things are going to get exciting. All right, take care. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.